Good evening, friends. Again, I am back. Thanks for your encouraging responses in my previous short introductory video on surface and border of the heart. In this pandemic scenario, without face-to-face offline class, it is very difficult for the anatomy students to grasp and conceptualize some topics by only consulting books or atlases. That's why I felt the need to post this type of explanatory videos for you. Enjoy it, digest it, and disseminate to all of your friends and batchmates, even to those who are in other medical colleges also. Today's topic is the blood supply of heart in nutshell. The blood supply of heart might have been taught to your classes by other professors and teachers. It's a vast and tricky area to understand for the undergrads, and sometimes it may become a long question also. In that case, how to deliver the salient points very briefly and in a compact way, that is the main aim of this video. Writing answer of this long question, most of you make a common mistake. You just write the arterial supply but forget to write about the venous drainage of the heart. That thing you will have to keep in mind at first. Now, when I was a student like you in my olden days, the first question which came to my mind, heart is dealing and pumping a large amount of blood all over the body. So what is the requirement of its own blood supply? It could very well take nutrition from that blood directly it is dealing with, isn't it? But this is not the case. As far as oxygen consumption and blood flow through the tissue is concerned, the heart is one of the leading customer among all the organs of our body. It can't pump on relentlessly without its own excellent blood supply system. Breach of that for a few minutes also becomes devastating for a person. It can't be compromised. So, the heart is supplied basically by two coronary arteries, right coronary artery and left coronary artery. Only the inner 75 to 100 micrometer of the endothelial surface gets nutrition directly from the blood in cardiac chambers, as per Guyton's physiology textbook. Anatomically, coronary arteries are not end arteries because they anastomose with each other by their trunks, branches and sub-branches mostly at the pre-capillary level. Functionally, however, they behave like end arteries since most of the anastomosis remain impervious. That is the main point. Each coronary artery is a vasa vasorum. I hope you understand the term vasa vasorum of the ascending aorta. Because the heart is developed from the fusion of two primitive endothelial tubes which represent the ventral aorta. Now, right coronary artery first. I will describe the coronary arteries little bit and I will show you how to write it. Now, here in this picture, you can see this is a line diagram of heart from its sternocostal surface mainly. So, here you can see the right coronary artery, that is coming from the first part of the aorta. This is the right coronary artery, beginning of the right coronary artery. It arises from the anterior aortic sinus or right coronary sinus in clinical parlance of the ascending aorta, slightly below the supravalvar ridge. So this is the course of the right coronary artery. I am depicting in different color so that you can understand it better. So this is the right coronary artery. This is the right auricle. This is the right ventricle. Everybody of you know that. So supravalvar ridge, above the supravalvar ridge, right coronary aortic sinus, the artery is taking its origin. and coming down in the groove of the atrioventricular groove, anterior part of the atrioventricular groove. Now you see, these are the branches. These are the branches of right coronary artery. So for the difficulty or ease of description, we describe it in two parts. Number one, those branches arising from the first segment of the artery up to the inferior border. So first segment of the artery, this part up to the inferior border. And those arising from the second segment from inferior border to the posteriorly, from the inferior border to the posteriorly up to crux of the heart. Up to crux of the heart. So this area we call the crux of the heart. The crux of the heart. Okay. So up to crux of the heart, from the inferior border to the crux of the heart is the second part. Now branches from the first segment or from the origin to the inferior border. Number one branch is right conus artery. This is right conus artery. This is right conus artery. Okay. So right conus artery, usually the first branch of the right coronary artery, and supplies the infundibulum of the right ventricle. Sometimes it arises directly from the anterior aortic sinus. Now if you do not know what are the aortic sinuses, then I want to show you first that these are the aortic sinus, right aortic sinus. Now you see, this is a view of the all four valves. This is pulmonary trunk. This is aorta, root of the aorta. All are cut section, and the right atrium, left atrium have been removed. So you are viewing basically this picture from above, from top view. So from top view, if the both atria are removed, then you can very well see the tricuspid valves at right atrioventricular junction, bicuspid valve at the left atrioventricular junction. So here in the aorta, you can see the three semilunar valves, semilunar aortic valves. This one is left cusp, left side, right cusp, right side, and solely the single posterior cusp. So these two are anterior. These two are anterior right cusps, anterior left cusp, and posterior single one cusp. So no problem to understand this, I hope. So left cusp, right cusp, and posterior cusp comprising of aortic valve. And from this right cusp, the right coronary artery is taking its origin going up to inferior border, going back up to the crux of the heart. So from here to here is the first part, from here to here is the second part up to the crux. So that is the picture of all the valves and the orifices. So we move on to the previous picture. Now this is the first part, branches of the right coronary artery. The right conus artery, when it arises directly from the anterior aortic sinus, but not as a branch of right coronary artery first part, in such case that is called as third coronary artery. So in such case, the right conus artery is known as third coronary artery. The right conus artery anastomoses sometimes with the left conus artery. So here you can see this is the left conal artery. Left coronary artery, branch of left coronary artery. So if it anastomoses with this right conus artery, then there will be an encircling fashion around the infundibulum, isn't it? So in case with the left conus artery derived from the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery, The anastomotic necklace thus formed around the infundibulum is known as annulus of Vieussens. So what we write? Annulus of Vieussens. Okay. So the right conus artery we know. Now number 2, right anterior ventricular rami. These are 3 or 4 in numbers. Arise at right angles from the trunk of the coronary artery and supply the sternocostal wall of the right ventricle. So these are the sternocostal surface branches, right anterior ventricular rami. Number 3 to 4, it may vary. The right marginal artery is said to be the longest. The right marginal artery is said to be the longest ventricular ramus. It follows the inferior border of the heart towards the apex and supplies the adjoining surface of the right ventricle. So this is the marginal one. This is the marginal wall towards apex and supplies the left ventricle. As we know, the sternocostal surface almost up to this part, the 2/3 of sternocostal surface is formed by right ventricle, 1/3 is by left ventricle. So this is the right marginal branch supply. Now atrial rami. Atrial ramis are branches to atrium or right atrium basically. These are arranged in anterior, lateral and posterior, 3 groups, out of which the former 2 groups arise at right angles from the first segment. The former 2 groups, these are the atrial branches. These arise right angle to the former first part of the right coronary artery. The sinoatrial node artery, the acinodal artery, is very important, belongs to atrial rami group. It arises in 65% cases from the initial segment of the right coronary artery and 35% patients from the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. So acinodal branch, this acinodal branch, 65% cases from the right coronary artery, 35% patient from the left coronary artery coming back from left coronary artery. Okay, so in 100% cases we will not find this finding. Remember this, acinodal artery. Typically, the nodal artery passes upwards and backwards from the right coronary between the right auricle and the root of the ascending aorta, then arches laterally in front of the orifice of superior vena cava and finally runs down through the central axis of the sinoatrial node. Okay, leave it. So there are 3 groups of branches from the first segment of the right coronary artery. We all know that: atrial rami, right ventricular branches and right conus artery. Now branches from the second segment. To see those, we will have to go posteriorly. To see posteriorly, the base of the heart and the diaphragmatic surface of the heart basically are supplied by the branches of the second segment of the right coronary artery. Now number 1, right posterior ventricular rami. Right posterior ventricular rami. So this is the branch, you can see the right posterior ventricular rami. A few branches arises from the trunk of the right coronary artery and the posterior part of the atrioventricular groove. This is atrium, this is ventricle, atrioventricular groove. The right posterior branch, ventricular branch is going supply the diaphragmatic surface of the right ventricle, basically. Number 2, posterior interventricular branch arise from the right coronary artery near the crux of the hand. So this part is right posterior ventricular and this part is posterior interventricular branch of right coronary artery. This posterior interventricular branch arises from the right coronary artery near the crux. So from the crux it is arising, and single branch, as a single branch it is arising in 70% subjects and passes along the posterior interventricular groove. We can very well see that close to the apex close to the apex here, it anastomoses with the anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery. So this is, here you can see the anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery will go posteriorly and will anastomose with the posterior interventricular branch here. So this is the meeting point of right and left coronary artery, and sometimes 2 or 3 posterior interventricular branches run parallel to one another, and in 10% of patients the posterior interventricular branch is derived as a continuation of the left coronary artery also. We will have to remember that, not from right coronary artery, but the posterior interventricular branch is coming from the left coronary artery in 10% cases. On the basis of the continuity of posterior interventricular branch, कहाँ से आ रहा है posterior ventricular branch, इसके ऊपर से, इसके हिसाब से, from right or from left coronary artery, the right coronary predominance, this term has been coined, or left coronary predominance, this term has been coined. So what is the coronary predominance means? You understand now. The posterior interventricular artery provides a few branches to the diaphragmatic surface of the right and left ventricles, but the most significant branches are the septal rami. That means here is in 3D concept, this is the posterior interventricular branch. So here vertically inside you will find the interventricular septum, inside, not outside. So this will give branches to the interventricular wall, thick interventricular wall, the posterior interventricular branch. This will have to remember. Interventricular, the most significant branches are septal rami. First septal ramus of the posterior interventricular artery undergoes an inverted loop and supplies the AV node also. So if you were asked which branch is supplying the AV node, supply to SA node, you know, from the right coronary artery, one of the atrial branch in 65% patient supplies the SA node. But the first septal ramus of the posterior interventricular artery, it supplies the AV node. In 80% to 90% subjects, the AV nodal artery is derived from the right coronary artery, and in 10% to 20% cases from the left coronary artery also. So two branches we have come to know. One is right posterior ventricular rami, one is right posterior ventricular rami, one is right posterior interventricular branch, posterior interventricular branch. Number 3 is right posterior atrial rami, right posterior atrial rami. So supply in the majority of the individuals posterior surface of both left and right atria. So both left and right atria will be supplied. So these are the branches. You can see here both the atria it will supply. Okay, up to this part you are clear. Now left coronary artery, come to the point of left coronary artery. Here you can see the dotted line given the posterior atrioventricular, and this is interventricular branch of the right coronary artery. Right coronary artery is coming like this, encircling the inferior border of the heart, going backwards in between the atrioventricular and interventricular groove, and finishes by anastomosing with the anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery. This concept is clear. Now left coronary artery. Here you can see the left coronary artery diagram. So left coronary artery, right coronary artery was originating from which part? The right anterior cusp. Left coronary artery, it is usually wider than the right coronary artery and supplies the large volume of the myocardium, so it is main. The left coronary artery arises from the left posterior aortic sinus. We have seen that. Left coronary sinus is commonly a clinical term to denote. The trunk of the artery passes behind the pulmonary trunk. The trunk of the body of the artery passes behind the pulmonary trunk, behind the pulmonary trunk, and left auricle also. So here is the left auricle. Here is the left auricle. So behind the pulmonary trunk and left auricle, where it divides usually in two branches. One branch is anterior interventricular branch, one branch is anterior interventricular branch, another branch is circumflex artery or circumflex branch. On rare occasion, 2% cases, the aforesaid branches arise separately. They are separate, not from a common trunk, from the left posterior aortic sinus. The trunk of the artery does not provide, as a rule, any significant branch. The trunk of artery का कोई branch नहीं है. Now come to anterior interventricular artery, which is a branch of the left coronary artery main trunk. So this is anterior interventricular artery. Now, what are the branches? Continuation of the left coronary artery is it goes on, descends in the corresponding groove along the sternocostal surface, descends in the corresponding groove of the sternocostal surface to the apex, and after winding round the insusura epicis cordis, this part insusura, what is the term? Incisura epicis cordis. Okay. So after winding round the incisura epicis cordis, that is nothing but indentation in the apex. So incisura epicis cordis ends on the inferior surface by anastomosing with the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery. Already I told you. The anastomosis usually takes place at the junction of the anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of the posterior interventricular groove. Anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3. So anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of the interventricular groove. Very clear, no problem. Okay. Now branches anterior ventricular rami for both right and left ventricle. So anterior ventricular rami, these are the anterior ventricular rami for right and left both ventricle. Okay. Then septal rami. Again, the interventricular septum is located here inside the heart vertically. So there will be septal rami too. Okay. So septal rami, and these two are main branches, group of branches of anterior interventricular branch. Now what about circumflex artery? Circumflex means it bends. So it bends, it passes the first along the left part of the atrioventricular groove, it passes along the left part of the atrioventricular groove, then winds round the left border of the heart and occupies the posterior part of the atrioventricular groove. So move on to posterior aspect. So this is the circumflex after winding coming from anterior aspect, and this is the supply. Okay, you can see the picture. So the circumflex artery lies close to the mitral annulus and may be damaged in mitral valve replacement. Branches. The circumflex artery give rise to the following branches: atrial and ventricular rami, sinuatrial nodal artery, atrial and ventricular rami, SA nodal artery. Okay. Then left marginal artery. Then this is the left marginal artery. Left marginal artery, the I have told you that from the left marginal artery to the left yesterday, that this is the left surface of the heart. We denote from the left marginal artery to the left side of the heart is known as left surface of the heart. So left marginal artery is a branch. Then posterior interventricular artery, sometime in 10 to 20% cases, and atrial branches of circumflex artery. So this is the atrial branches of the circumflex artery, you can see here. So what are the branches? Quick recap: sinuatrial nodal artery in 35% patient, left marginal artery is a prominent branch which follows the left border of the heart towards the apex, posterior interventricular artery, and an atrial branch of circumflex artery. So Right coronary artery supplies whole of the right atrium, most of the right ventricle, except what? Except a strip along the anterior interventricular groove. So anterior interventricular groove, except this part of the strip, rest all part is supplied by right coronary artery. Remember. So right coronary artery supplies whole of a right atrium, most of the right ventricle, except a strip along the anterior interventricular groove. Posterior inferior 1/3 of the ventricular septum. So posterior inferior 1/3 of the ventricular septum. So what is that? What does it look like? So if it is ventricular septum, this is a thick septum. So the posterior inferior aspect. So this is you imagine this is the diaphragmatic surface of the heart. The right coronary artery posterior interventricular branch is coming like this, and it will give branches to the from bottom posterior inferior 1/3. Posterior inferior 1/3, and SA node and AV node branches in a majority of subjects. So this is the domain of right coronary artery. Left coronary artery supplies most of the left atrium and left ventricle, except a strip along the posterior inferior surface of the heart, posterior and inferior surface of the heart, and also supplies the anterior superior 2/3 of the ventricular septum. So anterior superior 2/3 of the ventricular septum will come from this left coronary artery. Okay, so this is the basically description as a whole of right and left coronary artery. Now peculiarities. Sometimes left coronary artery arises from the pulmonary trunk, producing cyanotic symptoms. Parasympathetic stimulation has negligible direct effect on coronary vessels. कोई खास effect नहीं है. Sympathetic alpha receptors or constrictor receptors are predominant in epicardial coronary vessels. Epicardium मतलब ऊपर के तरफ, जो हार्ट वाल के बाहर की तरफ. Beta receptors और dilator receptors are predominant in intramuscular artery, जो मसल के अंदर है, जो artery के branches. Therefore, sympathetic stimulation constricts the epicardial arteries and dilates the intramuscular arteries. Remember, coronary arteries are the only vessels where the blood flow in diastole. This is very, very important point. When the filling of coronary artery occurs in systole or in diastole, not in systole but in diastole. Now, coronary predominance in man. What does the term mean? It may come as short note also. Majority of people possesses right coronary predominance, as you can understand from my few minutes back. When the posterior interventricular artery extends a continuation of the left coronary artery, these people are likely to be affected by coronary disease because the entire left ventricle and the ventricular septum are under nutritional control of left coronary artery, and obstruction of the latter may produce the output failure of the systemic circulation. On rare occasions, the posterior interventricular branches are derived from both coronary arteries. Individuals of such balanced type of coronary artery distribution are least affected by coronary disease. It is very clear and it is well understood that if both the ventricle gets little bit supply, mixed supply from both arteries, then the chance of damage is less in case of obstruction, isn't it? Now, here we finish the arterial supply and we go to how to write this in a short. So this is the picture, this is the algorithm type or tabulated form of writing. You write first arterial supply of the heart if the long question comes. Then you divide it into right coronary and left coronary artery. Okay, no problem. Write in short. 1, 2 arises from the right coronary, right anterior aortic sinus. Number 2, in 60% cases, it terminates by the anastomosing with the circumflex branch of LCA. You write in abbreviation LCA after reaching at the crux of the heart. Finish. Right coronary artery. Left coronary artery arises from the left posterior aortic sinus, slightly wider than right coronary artery. बस उसके आगे you move on. Divide the right coronary artery into two. The first segment up to the inferior border, second segment up to the crux from the inferior border. Okay, move on. First segment, ventricular rami, atrial rami. Okay, move on. Ventricular rami subdivision, right conus artery. Sometimes it is known as third coronary artery if it is originated separately from the main trunk. Okay, then right anterior ventricular rami. Okay, then atrial rami. Okay, atrial rami. This you may write 3 to 4 branches, of which right marginal is the largest. You can write that. Okay. Now atrial rami arranged in posterior lateral and anterior group. Acenodal artery in 65% cases from atrial rami arises from the initial segment, and in 35 cases from the left. This from left. Okay, you move on. Then your second segment from the inferior border up to the crux. Branches A, B, C. A is right posterior ventricular rami, B is posterior interventricular branch, C is right posterior atrial rami. Found in 70% cases, determine coronary predominance. Most important branches are septal branches, supply posterior inferior 1/3 of the ventricular septum. First septal branch, I have told you, that supply atrioventricular node or AVN. Then right posterior atrial rami in majority supplies both atria. This is minor one. Then move on to the left coronary artery. It arises from left posterior aortic sinus, already told, slightly wider. Divide it into two. Anterior interventricular arch, which is in clinical cardiological term known as LAD, left anterior descending branch. LAD, anterior interventricular arch, is not used much more in clinical parlance. It is known as left anterior descending branch. Another is circumflex branch. बस खत्म तुम्हारा लिखना. So LAD is again subdivided into anterior ventricular rami and septal rami. Now here it will supply the anterosuperior. Here in right it was posterior-inferior 1/3. Here it will be supplying the rest. That means anterosuperior 2/3 of the ventricular septum. Very clear. Circumflex artery. Circumflex artery acenodal branch देगा कितने परसेंटेज में? 35% of population में it may give acenodal branches. Left marginal artery or obtuse artery. Then posterior interventricular branch in 10% cases. And number D, an atrial branch of circumflex artery. Okay, circumflex को हम abbreviation में CX लिखते हैं. We use CX term. Now our long question is almost finished. There are some notes. Coronary predominance, RCA or LCA, right coronary artery or left coronary, it may be both or mixed. Myocardial circulation, it may be of interarterial type, arteriovenous type, arteriosinusoidal type, sinusinusoidal type, and sinuluminal, arterioluminal, and luminosinusoidal type. These things you may not understand at this level. This is little bit of postgraduate level, but you just can mention this term not to clarify further. Now collateral circulation, subepicardially, just epicardium के नीचे, between branches of coronary artery, between branches of internal thoracic artery and descending aorta, and bronchial branches, pericardial, phrenic, esophageal, these branches, there is a collateral circulation is also there. So this is the tabulated or algorithm form. If you write this much with some diagrams, then it will definitely carry almost 90% marks in your long question. Okay, we move on to next, the venous part. The venous part is very easy. You will have to write a few points. About 60% of the venous blood of the heart drains into right atrium via the coronary sinus. This is the coronary sinus. I use different color. This is, you can see, the coronary sinus. This is the coronary sinus. Will be draining into the right atrium. So we zoom it. So into drain 60% blood draining into the coronary sinus. The remaining 40% of the blood वो कहाँ से आएगा? Drains into the different chambers of the heart via the veni cordis minimi or Thevesian veins. What are the spelling? Veni cordis minimi or Thebesian veins. Okay. Then anterior cardiac veins also. So by veni cordis minimi and anterior cardiac veins, 40% blood will be drained to other chambers. Okay. So these are the 60% 40% drainage theory of venous blood. So CS reaps almost 60% of the venous return of the cardiac veins. Now coronary sinus conveys the greater part of blood from the left coronary artery, whereas the anterior cardiac vein, most of the blood receives from the right coronary artery. The veins which do not join the coronary sinus, who are they? Anterior cardiac veins, veni cordis minimi. Already told 40% blood will be drained by them. Now coronary sinus, short note, it is a wide venous channel about 2 to 3 centimeter long. I have shown you, it is a wide venous channel 2 to 3 centimeters long, situated in the posterior part of the atrioventricular groove. Posterior part of the atrioventricular groove, not anterior part. The coronary sinus receives 60% blood, venous blood. Okay, the course of the coronary sinus is not so important here. So we move on the tributaries. All tributaries of the sinus are provided with valves, remember, except oblique vein of left atrium. So what are the tributaries first? So these are the tributaries of coronary sinus: great cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, small cardiac vein, oblique vein of left atrium. This is only valveless. Remember, posterior vein of the left ventricle. So who are they? So here you can see, this is the great cardiac vein. As we are seeing this from posterior aspect, this is the diaphragmatic surface, this is the base of the heart. So the great cardiac vein is anteriorly, that's why it is light blue color, it has been drawn in light blue. So it is after winding, this is coming like the winding along the left circumflex artery, draining into the posteriorly the coronary sinus. So this is great cardiac vein, anterior interventricular branch of left coronary artery के साथ ही चलेगा. If you want to see the picture, you'll have to understand it better. For your better understanding, we can show you this. You can see which branch of artery, left coronary main trunk, then this is anterior interventricular artery, and this is great cardiac vein. You see, दिस इज ग्रेट कार्डियक वेन अलॉन्ग साथ चल रहा है, जाके सर्कमफ्लेक्स के होते हुए पीछे के तरफ से होते हुए ग्रेट कार्डियक वेन विल ड्रेन हियर इन द कोरोनरी साइनस. वेरी क्लियर, नो प्रॉब्लम. ओके, सो दिस इज राइट कोरोनरी आर्टरी, यू कैन सी. नाउ द मिडिल कार्डियक वेन, which one is the middle cardiac vein? This is the middle cardiac vein. This is the posterior vein of left ventricle, and this is the great cardiac vein. This is the left marginal vein. Okay, so left marginal vein joining with the great cardiac vein and draining to the coronary sinus. So development, sometimes it is asked, coronary sinus is developed from the left horn and body of the sinus venosus. इतना कुछ लिखो, good enough. First, the valve of the coronary sinus is developed from the lower part of the right venous valve. In embryology, this is very important. The valve of the coronary sinus is developed from the lower part of the right venous valve. Okay. Now, peculiarities. Coronary sinus is encircled by the myocardia, and occasionally its posterior surface is overlapped by cardiac muscle of the left atrium. Developmentally, the coronary sinus is a part and parcel of the heart. In obstruction of minute branch of coronary artery, the regurgitant blood of a coronary sinus may irrigate the myocardium according to Batson's circulars. Not to understand much, but to know this information is important. Okay, so we move on to the next picture. Here you can see the pictures, better picture. I am acknowledged to Thames Atlas of Anatomy for these pictures. This is a very good diagram. And so what is this? Above pulmonary trunk division. So this part is known as, yesterday I told you in the surface border class, this is the base of the heart. This is the diaphragmatic surface of the heart. Okay, remember that. So moving to the next, this is the schema. So you see the right coronary artery is denoted as green. So cross section of the both ventricle, you can see the green is supplying the right ventricle. How much? This strip I told you just now, the strip of the anterior portion of the right ventricle sternocostal surface is not supplied, except not supplied by right coronary supply. Okay, so this is the green part is supplied by the right coronary artery, the part of the wall of the right ventricle, and the left ventricle whole is supplied by the left coronary artery, which is red. So you can, this is anterior, posterior, right and left. So this is well understood that which part is supplied. Coronary predominance, the concept of coronary predominance, 60 to 70%, 15 to 17%, and right coronary plus minus 15%, how it is supplied. So you will see this picture later on. This picture already shown to you. Again, by seeing this picture, you can auto estimate or estimate yourself. This is the place of anterior interventricular branch. This is the right coronary artery and atrioventricular group. This is the right auricle, this is the left auricle. This is the posterior interventricular branch course. This is the coronary sinus placement. So when you read further, you will just correlate with these diagrams for better understanding. And these are the chambers of the heart. I have added these pictures not for this topic but additionally, so that you can read on your own. Okay, so with this I am finishing my topic today. Thanks to all of you again. Be safe and read meticulously. Thank you.